Interviewing skills have never been more important than they are now while we are going through what the experts call the Great Resignation or the Great Reshuffle. So many individuals have been transitioning to new roles in the workforce, and whether you are preparing to do the same or entering the workforce for the first time, we want to help you prepare with some basic helpful tips to use along the way. First and foremost, you need to dress for success. This means before you go to an interview or have a virtual interview, you want to know what the current dress code is for the company, and ideally your outfit of choice should match the job you are going for. You wouldn't show up wearing a suit and tie to work in construction as a worker, would you? Likewise, you shouldn't show up in jeans and a polo for an interview to work at a bank. Never be afraid to ask when scheduling the interview with a recruiter what the dress code of the company is. Interviews in the trade fields include skilled labor-focused trades like carpenters, plumbers, etc. These are all currently in great need, as there is a shortage of these workers in the USA. When preparing for these interviews, you'll want to wear a nice collared shirt and a pair of slacks. Don't show up in ripped clothing or clothing that couldn't be safe for the job. What if they offered you to get started right away? Would you be dressed appropriately? This, of course, can be different when you are dressing to work more in an office or a business line of work. When interviewing for working in hospitals, corporations, finance through retail, you'll want to think about the expression of wearing your Sunday best. So you'll want to wear dress slacks, a button-up shirt with tie, or a button-up shirt with a blazer, and professional shoes. This means no jeans, sneakers, no flip-flops like sandals. Remember, you can ask about the current dress code, so you can dress slightly above that. Now that you have an idea of your interview outfit, let's discuss preparing for the interview. As many of us have seen, online interviews have become more common since the pandemic started, and preparing for an in-person interview and an online interview does have some differences. When you go for an in-person interview, the key things to remember are to bring extra copies of your resume. It shows you're prepared. Have a list of references should they need that. Have 3 to 5 questions prepared that wouldn't be easily answered in the process of them explaining the role to you. You may even find that you think of your questions based on the questions they ask you. If you are asking questions, you'll want to have a pen and paper to write the answers and information they provide to you. Also, don't forget to bring a water, as you'll want to stay hydrated when speaking. If you are doing an online interview, think about the visual of the space you'll interview in. Is it quiet? Clean? Make sure there are no bright lights behind you, as this can cause a shadow to come over your face in the camera. Lastly, confirm the details of your interview. Is it in the right time zone? Do you know what platform the interview is on? Practicing interview questions is a great way to prepare for interviews. Think about a situation you were in or a task that needed to be accomplished. What goal were you working toward? Or what was the plan? What actions did you take to address the situation? Or what happened, how did it end? That's the STAR model for behavioral questions: situation, task, action, and result. Top questions can often include, tell me about yourself, or even, what do you need to work on? When you get to the questions around the biggest mistake or your weakness type questions, focus on the acknowledgement of why or what it is that you need to work on and what you are doing to prevent the mistake in the future, or what you are working on to improve your weakness to a strength. Questions about yourself should be what's called the elevator speech. If you had a short elevator ride with someone that could give you a job, how would you describe yourself? Try to align this with the descriptions from the job description and why you applied. Other questions to think about would be what motivates you most in a job? Here they are trying to get to know you as a person to see how they can reward you for doing a good job. Everyone is motivated for rewards differently, whether it's financial gains or recognition. The question around what you can do that someone else can, well, this is your elevator speech. Think about if you were to meet someone in that elevator, had 15 to 30 seconds, same as in the last slide. What are you going to tell them on why they should hire you? That's your answer to that question. If you are looking for a long-term career as well, and would love to have the question around where you see yourself in 5 years, you should answer with inclusion of the company you are interviewing with. Example being, I'd like to grow into a management role with XYZ company. Remember that when you are interviewing, you always want to put your best self out there. You are your own brand that you are trying to sell to an employer so that they buy in and hire you. So make sure you wear the right attire. Be prepared for the interview, whether it's virtual or in person, and practice answering those interview questions so that when you are asked them, you'll have your answer prepared.